Hey there, beautiful souls. Welcome to Hermanas Healing Together, the podcast where we embark on an incredible journey of self-discovery, healing, and growth. I'm your host, Danny Moore, and I am absolutely thrilled to have you join me on this transformative adventure. In this safe and nurturing space, we are exploring diverse paths of healing and holistic wellness, embracing all perspectives with an open mind. Here, we celebrate the beauty of individual journeys towards healing, recognizing that each one is unique and special. Today, I have the honor of sharing a deeply inspiring conversation with an incredible soul, Kasey Garcia.
Hi.
So, she will be bravely opening up about her personal healing journey. Now, I must forewarn you, this conversation might touch upon some controversial topics, but that's what this podcast is all about, emphasizing the importance of understanding and respecting different perspectives. Remember, Hermanas Healing Together is a place where judgment is left at the door and compassion takes the lead. We believe in the power of vulnerability, where it's in sharing our stories that we find connection and strength. So whether you're just starting your healing journey or have been on the path for a while, you are warmly welcome here. It doesn't matter where you come from or what your background is. We are all united in our pursuit of well-being and growth. So my dear listeners, take a deep breath, open your heart, and get ready to be inspired. Let's dive into this episode of Hermanas Healing Together, and together, let's embrace the beauty of our shared human experience. And I want to welcome Kasey today.
Hello, everybody.
Kasey, I've known you for a little while. It's like I was telling Kasey, did I call you Kelsey?
Not today, but you have before.
I call you Kelsey?
But I answered anything relatively
goodness.
close to Kasey because
You know
there's
what?
so many.
It's so funny because today, as I'm like typing, my script, I'm like, I was gonna write Kasey Garcia, and I'm like, wait a minute, it's not Kelsey, it's Kasey.
It's funny because I tell people anything Tracy, Lacey, Kasey, anything that sounds like it, I'm just gonna say
Yes,
yes.
that's me.
Yeah.
It's funny. I think that I have a thing with people's names. I always get them mixed. I had somebody here last time who I mixed her name several times after getting it the first time. I kept on mispronouncing her name. So that's kind of like a thing that I do. Don't take offense.
I don't at all. Trust me. You're fine.
So tell me about you, because I've known you. I've seen some of the things that you've gone through. And I remember when you were with your last pregnancy, I believe it was, having some issues, health issues. And where are you with that today? Tell us a little bit about what's going on there, or what happened.
A little short or brief background on that was I was on a birth control for a few months that ended up causing blood clots that ended up going into my lungs. In both lungs I had blood clots. It was a really severe pain that I let go on for days because I don't go to the hospital for very much. Once they found them and we decided to get off the birth control, I was put on blood thinner medications, and I ended up getting pregnant pretty quickly after coming off the birth control with my last baby. That was in 2020. Well, whenever I got pregnant, they put me on an injectable blood thinner, which eventually it thinned my blood too much to where going into the birth was something that multiple different types of doctors had to be involved in, and I had to deliver a little bit early, which was extremely traumatic because something I haven't talked a whole lot about before is that the doctors weren't sure if I was going to bleed out. So all of that trauma from that 1 year, on top of it being the year COVID happened, it really affected me emotionally and mentally. And you just mentioned in the intro about vulnerability, and the day that I had him my son Kaike, was the most vulnerable day that I've ever had. And since then, it's been life-changing in a lot of good ways. I'm trying to bring good from that trauma I was in my entire life, pretty much. I've been in counseling and therapy and things like that. And that year of 2020, after my blood clots, I started seeing a counselor regularly every week for almost a year. And I feel like she is a part of me. She retired, but she is a part of me, and she is who brought me into trying to be better, because she reached into my soul and she pulled out all of these awful feelings. And I can remember her telling me after this session, you need to go home and you need to rest, because this was hard. This was intense. And since that time with her, I've been constantly looking for ways to improve my happiness and my calmness, because I have been known to be really quick to anger and very emotional before I think about things. And so over these last 3 years, I have been progressing at a rate that I'm happy with. I don't think that I'm done, but I've been doing a lot of different things to try and just feel better, be happier, and not have a chip on my shoulder, not let things bother me.
So do you feel that from this experience that you had with the childbirth, with your health, if this in any way created like PTSD for you?
Absolutely.
And how did that like show up for you?
Well, I went back to work after my maternity leave, and I had worked there for years with my best friend. I mean, it was a good place. It was fun. And a few months in, I was just like, I kind of had like an awakening, like, what am I doing? I want to change, and for me to change, I need to probably get out of the situations that I'm in. So I put in my notice, and I decided I was going to stay home with my kids for a while, which I'm still doing. I don't know for how much longer, but I felt that life is too short, and after the trauma that I had, I wanted to spend more time with them and be more available to them, because I was working a lot.
Right.
Because I enjoyed it. I enjoyed what I was doing.
Yeah.
But nothing compares to being able to spend time with my kids in my mind. And
some women really, really enjoy that. That's like really a good thing for them. Some women like to be out. Oh, yes, I've been there, because I was a stay-home mom for about 5 years.
Yes, it is super hard. And digging into getting well, I have lost myself in it, to where I was only mom. I wasn't Kasey anymore. And that's we
kind of do lose ourselves.
Yes.
And I speak very openly. This may be news for some of our listeners that personally know me, but for me, motherhood was traumatic.
Yeah.
And I didn't have anything per se medically happening to me. I mean, both of my babies were fine. My births were fine, but it was emotionally.
Yeah, you lose yourself.
It took a toll on my mental health.
Yes.
And being a stay-home mom, that's why I say for some women that's okay, and they really enjoy it, and they're able to be on their. Yeah, it is a beautiful thing. I cannot say that I did not enjoy that, but at the same time, I do see where it was for me a struggle mentally.
Well, I will definitely be happy to go back to work. It'll be bittersweet, because I love seeing everything that they do.
Right.
And then at the same time, I'm like, when are y'all going with y'all's grandparents? Because
Right.
I need a breather.
Bye,
Yes,
kids.
get out.
I love my kids very much. Super disclaimer.
Yes.
But when they're gone, I'm like, oh
Yes,
my goodness,
I can
finally a
breathe.
break.
Agreed.
But like with this situation that you had, like emotionally or mentally, how was that showing up for you? Like what symptoms did you have?
I have always been short or quick to anger.
Yeah. What sign are you?
Short-tempered, a Libra.
You're a Libra?
Yes.
You have to be
so
mixed
bad.
with something else.
Yes, I'm right on the edge, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Because you seem like an Aries woman to me.
Oh, really?
I could put you at. I'm an Aries, so it's like we're short tempered.
I have been literally transforming.
Yeah.
And I've been analyzing everything I do, every word that I'm going to say, which I never would have done before. I would have just said it. But I analyze.
You're catching yourself.
I stop, I think, and I control.
That's good.
And so that has been like pat on my back for
Yeah.
myself. Like when I
Like I'm clapping
Yes,
for you.
Thank you. Because that was something my whole life. Like
Do you know where that came from?
My dad. My
Okay.
dad, he
God.
had a very traumatic childhood,
Yeah.
and I think that he was a great dad to me, and he did everything he could to lead me in the right way, but
Yeah.
I took over his anger.
Well, and parent from their trauma.
Yes. And he definitely did, and like I said, I would never say my dad was an awful dad.
Right.
My dad literally fought tooth and nail to keep me as safe as possible, but I took on a lot of his anger, and I look back, and something that I used to do a lot was shame myself and guilt myself about how I treated people and the things that I did. And the counselor that I was talking about earlier, she helped me release a lot of the shame,
Right.
and basically like give yourself a break.
And perhaps maybe the shame was the cause or the root of being angry.
Exactly.
Anger is one of the hardest things to deal with.
Yes.
I share that with you because I have my own trauma made me angry.
Mhm.
And sometimes when I speak to people about it, because I'm so open with my healing journey, you know, people say, what, you? Like, I could never see that in you. I'm like, oh, stop. Really? And they're like, yeah, for real. But I, like you, quick temper, you know, ready to be, it's like living, living in that fight or flight mode.
That's literally
all the time.
Yes.
And then what does that bring? Anxiety, nervousness. You get sometimes even phobic, I feel like, of things.
And I think that I've had a lot of the phobic come from it. And it's kind of symbolic to me, because all of those things make you feel trapped. You're trapped in your anger, you're trapped in your anxiety. And one of my phobias is being claustrophobic, the fear of tight spaces. So I don't know the connection, but I feel like it could be part of it, because I felt trapped for so long in all those things. And once now that I'm releasing the anger, releasing the anxiety, I still have anxiety, but I'm working on it.
But you're aware, and that's one of the things that we talked about. And I'm no psychologist, but sometimes I feel that our symptoms of phobia are like being trapped, because I had the same thing, like not being able to go to the grocery store.
Yeah.
Freaked me out.
Walmart,
like complete.
I went to Walmart today and I was like, ugh.
Like I literally feel bump, 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 bump. And then
the parking lot.
Did you ever walk fast?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I'm like,
right.
With my basket, like trying to get through the store.
I know. And it's like, and then people are so slow, and I'm sorry if this sounds ugly, but we are raw here. I feel like I want to run people over with my basket. Like, ma'am, sir, get out of the way. Let me just finish what I need to do. And, but I feel that may stem from being in that fight or flight mode. Yeah. Our nervous system
we're in there, and it's just the grocery store for a lot of people.
I know.
But for us, it's more, we're protecting ourselves.
Yeah. It's like danger.
Yes.
I'm in the danger zone, and I need to make it safe out of here.
I need to make it safe out of here.
Yeah.
And the shootings and things like that don't help. my anxiety.
Yes.
They add to it so much. And
did you ever feel like you're just people watching to make sure that everybody seems safe? Because I do that.
Well, I
would like literally watch and feel.
We were going into Whataburger in San Antonio a few weeks ago, and the guy outside gave me absolutely no reason to think that he was gonna do anything to us. But he stood outside a second too long or something, and so I didn't even get to eat. I didn't tell my family because I didn't want to freak them out.
That's good that you have that awareness.
Used to, and I wouldn't have been. I would have been like, "Let's leave, get out of here
right now."
But I didn't eat very much because of my anxiety, and nothing happened. But it's just like
you just get phobic.
Yes.
You get paranoid.
Yes,
it's a real thing. It's a struggle. Mine, I don't feel like that anymore. It's rare when it kicks in for me, and
beautiful.
Usually it's when I'm going through my high energy states that I get more sensitive.
Is it that month? That time of the month?
That time of the month.
Yeah, that's me too.
I'm just like, everybody leave me alone. Don't talk to me. Don't breathe.
Yes.
Don't chew in front of me.
Don't look at me.
Oh my gosh.
I have a phobia of that too.
Oh my.
Or what is it? It's called like mesophonia or something like that.
I don't even know.
Listening
but it's like, no, or just looking at them while just talking about it makes me feel.
Yes, I'm with you on that too.
So what all, besides counseling, like what other things have you like explored?
So I've always considered, like when I was in high school, I had a very close friend, and we never did a Ouija board, but we talked about doing stuff like that.
I laugh because this is like all into my kind of
your realm.
My realm.
Well, like we would do things like not necessarily rituals, but we would like to go into like the cemetery at night and just feel like calm in there and not be scared. And so it's not that I've ever experimented with anything spiritual until recently. But I've always been interested in it. I've read books, especially I have a couple of books at home about dream interpretations and
those are awesome
and things like that. And but until I think massage therapy gets me feeling more spiritual because of the sense and the atmosphere. It's not all massage therapists though,
and that's how you and I met.
Yes,
you came to see me when I used to work at the Center for Fitness.
Yes,
that's when I was like brand new.
Yes, I would.
In
this
Kerrville.
Has been like at least 5 or 6 years ago.
No,
maybe more.
It's more than that.
Yeah,
it's been at least 8 to 10 years.
And the thing about me with massage therapy is I've gone other places, and not just because like I'll get a gift certificate or something.
Yeah.
And so
I don't ever feel like any kind of way.
I always
people
end
are free.
Here.
Yeah,
because
you love me.
I do. And what did I tell you the other day? You have magic hands.
Yes.
And it's not just you and the way that you massage, but it's the atmosphere. And it's all calming. I've been to places where it's like they're like honking outside.
Having this conversation during lunch with one of my friends of one of my massage experiences and how awful it was.
Yeah. And like I said, there's been some times where I've gone to other people, and it's actually the same to people because I get gift certificates, so I go to them.
Yeah.
And I leave fine. It's not like I hated it, but I'm always like, hey, I miss Danny. I need to go. I need to get back on her schedule for that. Yeah.
It's like we find our people, you know what I mean?
And
it's like we
somebody,
connect.
Yes.
And here's the thing that I say, they could probably say, in my case, like a massage therapist, they're probably not even like a good massage therapist, but it's like we just click and we get along so well that you just feel
just the comfort.
It is. Yeah. That really is what sells it. It's not, the massage, yes, but sometimes it's just the connection that people have that do most of all, the magic of connections. That's what it's all about.
Like I can feel your spirituality through all of my sessions, because to the listeners right now, I had not just come to Danny for massage, but recently we did a series of hypnosis sessions. And now she lives in my brain, and as she says, she lives there.
Calling you
free.
Kelsey, probably.
No,
I did not call you Kelsey on the recording.
No, Kasey in the recording. You did it right. But
I live in your head rent free.
You live here rent free, because when I'm feeling anxious or enclosed or scared, I tell myself to relax, but it's your voice that I hear.
No, what is it? You feel relaxed.
Relaxed. And it's your accent has a huge to do with it. Relax. Your accent is like, I needed that accent from my hypnosis.
Yes. Thank you. Well, I'm glad that you had a good experience. A lot of people feel concerned about hypnosis because the way that they have put it on TV, it's like
a trance.
I'm gonna make you do the chicken dance.
Exactly.
And you're gonna give me $1,000 for the time you leave.
I asked you that in the beginning.
Yeah, I think I always talk about it because people do have that misconception. It's like I'm gonna like brainwash you into doing something that you don't want.
Like the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, it is. This is the Twilight Zone. You hear that, people? It's the Twilight Zone in here. But no, it's like, it's greater than that. I've used it for myself in a lot of things too. And it's like, you know, I try to be consistent because, you know, I don't want to be like, oh, I want to work on this. Oh, well, tomorrow I want to work on this, you know, but I've used it for a few things. And I mean, I don't know if it's just quote unquote a mind thing. I mean, it is a mind thing, but I already like feel like I'm using it to like keep on doing my eating habits, you know, like staying on it, sticking with what I'm doing. Because,
I had no idea that was a thing.
Eating habits. I've done it for my hip pain.
Yeah.
I've done it for my anger, my energy, my high energy. And I find, well, the anger thing, I've worked on it for years now. I remember, and when like you were talking about anger or just being quick like that, you know, what do they call that? There's a word somebody used to call me. Fire.
Feisty?
No, goodness, it'll come back to me. But anyways, firecracker?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. But I remember there was one time that I literally was crying and I told myself, what is it that I'm angry about?
Yeah, why am I mad?
Why am I mad? Why am I, like, am I ever going to be able to control this?
And the thing was, it's because you were not in control. And what I was just talking to my aunt about this yesterday, because I've started walking with her, and I thought I was powerful because I was angry and I was scary. Mm-hmm. But I wasn't. I wasn't powerful. Opposite. I'm powerful now because somebody can be rude to me, and I know that I'm not their problem. They have another thing going on that they're upset about,
and it's not even you. Exactly. I mean, and that's what I always say. Like, people's behaviors are based on what they are experiencing.
Yes.
It doesn't necessarily have to do with the person who is on the end receiving end, however you say them. But also, you know, we also have to set boundaries, and then this is not saying like, oh yeah, well, you gotta take it now, you know, because poor them, you know, they're
and I'm also trying to find the fine line through that, because now that I've backed away from my anger, I'm trying to also say, but you can't let your boundaries down. Also, like, I used to get upset if somebody in the grocery store a worker somewhere in the service industry, if they were rude or not nice enough, I'd be like,
and you wanted to say something? Yeah.
But then, like, now I know that it has nothing to do with me. They may have just got yelled at by their boss.
Right. Or they just had a shitty day.
Maybe they lost a family member, something really awful, you know? So it's like, I try and take all of that into consideration and just continue to be kind.
Empathy.
Yes.
Is what really changes. And I believe that a lot of people like us who grow up in trauma or end up in trauma, we disconnect from being empathetic.
Our walls are too high.
Right, and we have to learn. It's like softening, right? Yes. I've been called, I'm too strong, I'm too opinionated, and honestly, I love those qualities about me.
Qualities.
I like those qualities in me. Now, when I feel that I'm going to deliver a message to someone that perhaps in my mind I feel like, oh, you know, they may get upset about it, or I may not deliver it in a kind way, I always say, I'm saying this with love and respect.
Right.
And then I continue with my message.
Yes. And it's also how you deliver it, because I used to just be like, my goal was to prove how you're wrong, I'm right. And that's it.
Yeah.
But now it's like, here's where I think that I have maybe gone a little wrong, but here's how also what you have done may have, you know, upset me in a way.
And your feelings are valid too.
And that's what I always try and tell everybody too. it's not like I've been having a lot of these conversations, but I tell my husband, hey, you know, our feelings are both, we can't say, oh, that's all in your head.
Right. Or you can't choose. Like if I tell you that I don't like that or that made me angry, you don't get to choose if it makes me angry or not. That is my response, and it's a valid response because it's my feelings.
This is my feelings.
Right.
Those are yours, and we don't have to fight about it. It's just now we're aware. And I have a very good friend who I consider my sister. Her name is Miranda Brand. I'm sure all of you know her.
We love you, Miranda.
We have been friends since we were 15. So 15 years now we've been friends, and we have fought like cats and dogs. And we have.
Well, if friends don't fight like that, sometimes are they real friends?
Right.
You gotta have your arguments.
We also now we work together for so many years too that it's kind of like she's telling me, hey, this is what we're doing, this is how, and I can say, hey, what do you think about this? And she's like, okay, let's try that, instead of like, oh, she's trying to change what I'm doing.
Right.
No, it's like, hey, you know, let's try this, and if it doesn't work, and we've kind of learned to mesh like that, where even when we're annoyed with each other. One time, I remember this, we were working and we were at each other's throat all day.
Like cats and dogs.
We both had our own issues going on. She left to go run an errand, and she calls me when she gets in the car, and she said, I don't like how we left that.
Oh, good.
And I'm like, me either. And she said, we could talk about it more when we get back.
Yeah.
But I don't want you to be upset the whole time that I'm gone, because I'm not upset. And I'm like, dude, you're like, inside my soul, because and we've just learned to vibe with each other. And that's the kind of relationship I want to have with anybody, is just being able to tell me why you're mad at me, and then we can still go eat dinner afterwards, you know?
Let's talk about it, or maybe if the feelings are too high, we can address it later on.
Yes.
We don't have to. I always say we don't have to resolve things right away.
Right. And that's something also that I tell my husband is, hey, let's just give each other a few minutes. I'm gonna go take a drive.
Right. I'm teaching my kids to self-regulate, because you know your energy transfers.
Yes.
And so I had a chaotic energy, and my kids were chaotic too. And now that I don't have that chaotic energy, I am
having to
train. Yeah, it's been hard work. And so when one of them gets mad and voices are being raised, I just say, do you have to raise your voice?
Right.
And they're like, well, but I'm upset. And that is valid. You can be upset. But I'm gonna stop the conversation right now, because we're not going to yell at each other.
Yes, we're gonna end up hurting each other.
Like, because I know I can get there. So I also, this is my own awareness, and it's like my moment to be like, ding, 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 Danny, like where to go there, you know. And so I've exercised learning how to calm myself, but also calming them, because we have had moments where we were, you know, raising voices at each other and being frustrated with each other.
Normal.
But now it's like, no, we're not even having this conversation right now. And so sometimes just go outside and just
the fact that
relax.
That we can even recognize it is just a huge step towards just better, more healthy communication.
And the fact that we can talk about it openly is also huge, because a lot of people who are struggling, they don't speak about it out of embarrassment, you know, shame. They are afraid that they're going to get judged. And yes, society unfortunately does judge us.
We will get judged.
Mental health.
But what we were talking about another time is just kind of not caring about the judgment anymore, because
I don't.
And I've gotten to that. I still sometimes I'll be like, oh, that was so embarrassing, you know. But I can also be like, what can I do now about it? It happened, and all I can do is continue to try and make myself feel better.
Right.
And the stemming off of that feeling better, I was in Florida in February, and I had my first ever really claustrophobic episode. Like, I felt like I didn't like closed spaces and things, but this one was like walls closing in on me. I couldn't breathe. I was, you know,
like
passed
a panic
out
attack?
At the end of it. I had a panic attack.
Wow.
And then we were at a theme park in Florida, and the rest of our trip in Florida was debilitating. Getting on the shuttle bus to go back to the hotel itself was too small. The airplane home,
it was, you got triggered.
I was just,
I felt awful. What did it feel like? Like, what were your symptoms?
Couldn't breathe. I felt my airways restricted. I felt dizzy, and I could visually see these walls closing. And I envisioned myself climbing over all these 100 people in front of me to get out, because there was no other way out. You had to go through people. And I could visually see myself like tearing them apart to get out. And I looked at my husband and I said, this is not good. And I need you to talk to me.
We're like, gotta go.
Until we can get to near an exit. I need you to just talk to me.
You know, that helps me too. When I'm just having like somebody just
take my mind off of
like
it.
Coaching me.
Yeah.
Or
like a distraction.
Like, you're fine.
Yeah. Well,
have you ever, you know what? This just takes me to this, but I don't mean to interrupt you, but have you ever like considered doing like ayahuasca or something like that? Because as I'm talking, like, you need somebody's guidance. That's just popping into my head. Like somebody, because in ayahuasca, I haven't done it, but what I've seen is that, you know, or any like ceremonial thing like that, where, you know, you take something like this, is that they are with you. They're guiding you through the process, and it's like a purge.
So I've been wanting for like a year now. I've been researching. I'm gonna butcher the name.
Psilocybins?
Yes. Mushrooms. I've been researching it because it is so widely used, and it was used by indigenous tribes before and still to this day.
Oh yeah. So there is a huge thing in Mexico, where basically it came from.
Yeah.
And there was a curandera, a healer named Maria Sabina, who offered. She called them the holy children, los niños santos.
Heard of this. Yes.
Yeah, but we won't get into that story because it's kind of long. But you guys can research it. It's Maria Sabina. But the use of that to heal, and this may be a little controversial from some of our listeners. And as I said in the beginning, you know, here we welcome all paths and experiences. But and I'm really open to those concepts, and we have had conversations about that before. But now they're doing all these rituals with ayahuasca, which is, it's a huge thing where I come from.
Of it. Yeah,
I've never tried it. It doesn't really call my name, but in my community, in my country, in my cultural background, that's like a huge thing. And also with the mushrooms, and so
the first fact of the matter is it's natural, and it can be considered by some people that it's still a drug because it's mind altering, but that's where the guide comes in to keep you safe, and to
guide you through your experience.
I have never actually, of course when I was a teenager I did stuff, but I've never actually taken mushrooms recreationally. I have been researching it, like I said. I've actually got in touch with a few people in another city.
Yeah, my friend. My friend in San Antonio,
the one you put me in contact with. And I've been actually working on microdosing mushrooms. I have not taken what they call a journey. They have ceremonies that they do to. It's mind opening and you know,
calming. It's all about kind of grounding you and bringing you back to your own self, your higher self.
Grounding is what's important. And like I said, I do a lot of research because I just want to make sure that I'm doing something that is for me.
Right.
I have been taking the microdosing for maybe 6 weeks, 2 months, to a few months.
And what is your experience with that?
Well, so far I've been talking, the person that helps me, she has been so supportive, and she's, as soon as I met her, I felt this like vibe from her that she just cares. Like,
that's good.
I have not yet got to experience the benefits because I think that I still need to work through and maybe change dosing and things like that. But my family
and maybe
member,
that's what you need. Yeah. Right now, after being on it for a few weeks,
the same thing as when you take prescription medications. They change the dosing and stuff to get it right. Well, I said no more prescriptions because I wasn't feeling any better, and it just made the chemicals and everything.
Right.
I was worried. Now my close family member called me a few weeks ago and was like, "Hey, can I get that person's number, because I've been off of the shrooms for a week, and I feel a difference. I feel a difference, and I think that I'm really feeling the benefits from it." And I'm like, that for one gives me hope that I will get there, but for two, just happy that, because the person that I'm talking about has probably more trauma than I do, and the fact that it's helping them is, I'm really happy, and that gives me hope.
Everybody that I talk to about their experiences with mushrooms, they have nothing but great things to say about it.
I've only heard one person ever say they had a bad trip.
I'm sure that
but
exists.
It was because of their environment. It was like a house party or something, and it's
that's
that's
where it may because my belief with these things, that these are things that you need to honor,
in nature,
respect, and ground yourself with them. It is like a ceremony. It is a ritual.
Yes.
And if you're like at a party at a rave and you're just popping mushrooms, like I mean, the experience is not going to be therapeutic.
Yes, that's the point.
And that's what we're talking about.
It's the recreational versus the therapeutic.
Right.
And as long as you're doing it safely, which I would like to go to some of these ceremonies.
Yeah, they're popping out everywhere now.
Yes,
and I mean, unfortunately, there's still we have regulations here that don't allow us to openly discuss who some of these people are.
These great people that are trying to help.
But
even I have had a psychiatrist. So when I got back from Florida, I contacted you. And I contacted a psychiatrist that I had never met before. And I just started talking to both of you and working with both of you to try and feel better about my claustrophobia and other things.
Yeah.
And it was funny because I asked her, it was a virtual meeting, and I'm like, "Where are you from?" And she told me, and I said, "Oh, I was hoping you'd be from Oregon so you would tell me, so I could talk to you about mushrooms." And she said, "I'm not from Oregon, but we have known in the psychology world the benefits for a long time, and we're looking forward to."
That's amazing.
Yes, to changes.
So she was all for it.
Yes, and we didn't go too deep into it because we're on virtual meeting, and I didn't know how comfortable she was talking about it because of legalities, but
yeah, it's interesting that we have to censor some things because of that.
For something that's natural, and then hopefully views
plant medicine.
Yes, and that's what I've been trying to gear more towards, is more spiritual and natural healings rather than here are these chemical drugs that are changing your your chemical makeup.
And we are not against medicine. Let's just clarify that.
Yes.
But when I have talked about this, they say to me things like, "Well, these are highly addictive, things." Well, so are pharmaceuticals.
Pharmaceuticals are as well. Yes. And like I said before, everything is going to be different for each person. And we can't, if somebody told me today, "Well, I take this antidepressant," I'm not going to say, "Well, why would you do that?"
Right. Like, no judgment here.
I hope that
it's working out for you.
I'm really glad that you're getting progress,
And most importantly, that they're getting help, because some people truly need it. And I think that they come into play, and they're very necessary when you are at risk.
At a certain
or a point where you're like, you know what, I need to feel in control or grounded or whatever. And I think that medicine has its perks, its benefits.
Sure. Yes.
But again, we're not against medicine. We support anyone. If you are on medication and you're hearing this, we're happy for you, and we're happy that you're taking care of your mental well-being.
And that's what's the most important, is just taking that first step to actually take care of yourself, because a lot of people don't get help and they turn to things like drugs and alcohol. And I see that a lot in the older generation of some of my family members, that I know why they're alcoholics. And it's because they have a lot of trauma,
emotional stuff
that they want to suppress. And so the fact that if you are on any antidepressants, that means that you're doing something that's more healthy than turning to alcoholism or
Drugs.
drug abuse.
Yeah.
And I just felt like from the time I was 13, I was on antidepressants, and I just never felt better.
What did they make you feel some kind of way, or
different ones? Yes, some of them I sweat so much. I remember being a teenager and changing my clothes all day, and then some of them nothing. Others nausea and stuff. Obviously, when you're getting started on them, there's nausea, but everybody's chemical makeup is different, so the medication is going to affect differently.
The medications have side effects.
Yes.
And I have a question for you.
Okay.
A concept here, or being, I don't even know what to call this, but I may be wrong. Are you open to the idea that perhaps the use of pharmaceuticals for so long created your health issues?
I think,
or do you think that may have been a possibility?
I think that some of them made me more anxious. They might have helped, like, depression wise, but I do think that some of them made me like jittery and more like on edge. Maybe I don't know, but maybe like raise my blood pressure a little bit.
Yeah.
As for my blood issues that I had, that was from the birth control that I was on, which ended up, I found out afterwards that it killed a few people, and it
Can we say the name?
Well, I don't know. Oh, the name is NuvaRing.
Oh, really?
Yes. And I
wasn't aware.
Researching
Morena did like a lot of people, blood clots and things like that.
Yeah. Well, there was a big settlement for NuvaRing for there was like an Olympic athlete who it ruined her career. There was another, like a mountain climber. These are famous people that I know, that I read about. She was climbing a mountain, and the altitude got too high, and she had a blood clot on the mountain, and they had to like rescue her. And
oh my goodness,
it was years ago that I read these, so I won't get the details right. But there was a lot of people and a lot of families, the families of people who died from it, that they settled. They had a big court case for it. But I have not been on birth control since then. I did use other methods of birth control, but yeah, like I said, another thing, birth control is going to work for some people. You can never tell who it's going to harm or help. So,
and that's what we want to, say again. Like we're not against medicine. We just have different concepts in view. And the reason why I asked you that question is because in spirituality, we believe that sometimes our body will tell us, this is enough, like stop all of this. And it will have a reaction to make us unconsciously and spiritually reconsider what we have been putting on.
Because the blood clots is what started my journey here. And like I said, I'm still working, but I feel like I don't just feel like it. Everybody around me is telling me, they can tell a difference, and I feel
that's good.
I feel lighter. I seem lighter to them. Lighter as in, spiritually.
Your demeanor is more grounded.
Yes, and I think hypnosis helped with that so much too. I can't stop telling people. Like I said, Danny lives in my brain, but it's been funny because I can feel when I'm triggering the thought, and it is sending, like, sometimes I will feel this wave come over my body of calmness, like a calming wave will come over my body, and I'm just like, okay.
Right. And you have lived with this programming for so long that your brain consciously was doing all of these things, and now that you have, it's like a tape, or like a little stereo.
It's literally like what it is.
A new tape. And we tell it what to do now. Now, like, that's old. This is now what I need you to do and what I need you to execute and manifest for me. But it's a great tool. Like I said, a lot of people have a misconception with it, and they get kind of scared. And
I've been trying to teach people about that too when I talk about it, because I talk about it a lot. And I'm like, it's not what you see on TV. It's
very
not
different
at all.
Yeah, it's very calming and relaxing. Like even when I do it for other people, I'm in my own little meditation zone.
It calms
It's so
you
relaxing.
just performing the
And
session.
honestly, this is why I do it, because I have so much energy. Kasey, sometimes I feel like I'm bouncing off the walls, and I describe it as like I feel like I'm vibrating.
Yeah.
Seriously.
And so
doing massage, doing hypnosis, doing spiritual work, it's like Danny just
yeah, it's beautiful. And
It
it's
is.
like I can sometimes feel like we also, I don't know, a week or so ago, we had a spiritual session.
Yes.
And I could very vividly feel Danny's vibes,
Like my energy?
your energy.
Really?
I felt like
oh, cool.
During it, there were a lot of times that I don't know if you saw me, but I felt like I would smile because I was like, well, that was me. Like I felt
That's
like
so
I could
cool.
feel like
I
a
love
burst
hearing that feedback. Yeah.
And I think it was when we were releasing stuff.
Yeah.
I could like feel
the release,
and I could feel
That's
like
beautiful.
you were kind of like pushing it.
Yeah, sweeping it.
Yes.
Sweeping it out of you.
And
that's beautiful.
I enjoyed that.
I had somebody that called me. She's like, listen, I'm very, like, you have to understand this. And she was all, and I said, wait, relax. I said, what? She's like, you know, my family is like very religious, so I kind of feel weird about asking this because I don't know if I want to believe this, but this is happening to me. And I've been listening to all these books and stuff, and it's like, I'm so curious about it. And I said, well, what can I do for you? And she's like, I don't even know. I just felt like I needed to talk to you. I'm like,
you're
I'm
the
gonna call
person
Danny.
that
I need to talk to her about this.
Living in a small town
Yeah.
too, you're so open with your spirituality and your beliefs.
That
and
was hard for me to do, by the way.
It's helpful for people that are living in a small town to see you, because that's how I knew you did hypnosis, was because I saw that you were advertising for it. But there are other things that are deeper into your practice that aren't widely accepted in a smaller community like this.
In that conservative community.
Conservative
on top
community,
of that.
yes.
It was a very challenging thing for me to do. I had to come to terms that this is who I am. And whoever loves me, they're gonna resonate with the things that I do. And if they don't agree with what I do, but they still love me and they want to continue to see me and support me with massage, that's awesome. I invite them to be here. But for me, it was like in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh my gosh, people are gonna criticize me.
Right.
I'm gonna, they're gonna cancel my business. But I do. This is just what's in me, and it's a practice that I share with people.
Is that you need to come to work and enjoy it. And the people who may not agree with it, if they leave, the people who do agree with it, that didn't know that there was somebody in this town that could do it, are gonna.
That's what my coach tells me.
Yes.
She's like, you need to put your stuff out there, and I'm like, oh no.
Yes, because
do it.
You're opening that to people who.
And I want those people here.
Yes.
Those are the people that I want to connect with. The ones that they're comfortable enough to come and tell me about, like, this weird thing happened, and like I just need some guidance on it, or like this is showing up in my life constantly, this behavior.
Like my dreams that I were having, I was having
like I just need
dreams.
Some help with it. Yeah.
I think I voice messaged you, and I was like, I don't know if any of this is going to make sense or if you can even help me, but I'm having these unwanted dreams. What can we do? And you're like, well, let's have a spiritual session.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay,
let's do it
next week.
Yeah, that was like my friend's like, I don't know what I need to tell you, but I just need to talk to you. I'm like, yeah, sure, it will come together.
Yeah.
We talked for like 45 minutes, and she's seeing me at the end of August, so she's like, I'm so excited.
Good.
I'm excited too.
Happy for her.
So anyways, listen, as we come to the end of this episode of Hermanas Healing Together, I want to extend my deepest gratitude to Kasey. She's so awesome.
Thank you.
Sharing here. I told her from the beginning, we're just sitting here and we're just chatting with each other. So don't even.
Which we usually do anyways.
Yeah, this feels good. I really enjoy this, by the way. Remember that healing is a journey with no fixed destination, and we are all a work in progress. So let's honor our individual paths, celebrate our victories, embrace our challenges with compassion and understanding. I encourage each and one of you to continue exploring and seeking your own unique path to healing and holistic wellness. Together, we can build a community that thrives on diversity and acceptance, supporting one another in our pursuit of growth and well-being. Now, if you resonated with this episode, or even if you have a healing journey that you like to share, feel free to connect with me. I'm on social media. You probably already see me, Danny Moore. It's at the Danny Moore on YouTube and TikTok, and Curville Massage and Healing Arts, which now I really am considering opening just a page on Instagram for this podcast.
I think that'd be a good
I
idea.
think I'm going to do that. So soon I will fill you up on that, or I will fill you in on that. Is that right? Sorry.
It's the Ecuadorian.
It's Ecuadorian.
It's beautiful accent.
Confusion here. But if you resonated and you want to connect with me and just, maybe come sit here on this awesome yellow couch.
Yes, it's bright, pretty couch.
It's the confession couch. Your stories are valued. They're cherries. And you know what? They're inspiring. They're going to help a lot of people inspiring. It's going to keep spreading the message of healing and unity. And so if you have a story or you just want to subscribe to this podcast, leave me a comment, message me. Let us know. Let me know. Until next time, dear listeners, remember that you are not alone on this journey. We are all hermanas, sisters, bound by our shared experiences, healing together and shining our light into the world. Take care, stay curious, and always remember to be gentle with yourself. This is Danny Moore signing off, sending you all love, peace, and endless possibilities for growth. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.